Welcome to today's English lesson, The Rainy Day Surprise. In this story, you'll meet two friends whose picnic didn't go quite as planned, but something magical happened instead. As you listen, pay attention to how we use the words although, though, but, and however. All of them show contrast. Let's begin. Mia had been looking forward to Saturday all week. She and her best friend Layla had finally found a free day to enjoy a picnic together. Although the weather forecast mentioned possible rain, they decided not to cancel their plans. That morning, Mia packed homemade sandwiches, fresh fruit, and lemonade. Layla brought a big picnic blanket and her portable speaker. Although the sky looked a little grey, they were both in high spirits. They arrived at the park just before noon and found a quiet spot under a large oak tree. Though the wind was a bit chilly, the girls laughed, played their favourite songs, and even danced barefoot on the grass. After lunch, they lay back on the blanket and watched the clouds drift across the sky. "Looks like rain," Layla said. "Maybe," Mia replied, "but I hope it holds off a little longer." A few minutes later, the first raindrops fell. At first, they just giggled and tried to cover their food. However, the light rain quickly turned into a downpour. They packed everything up in a hurry and ran toward the nearest cafe, soaked and laughing. The cafe was warm and smelled like fresh bread and coffee. It was small and cozy with soft music playing in the background. However, every table was full. "Let's wait a few minutes," Mia suggested. "Someone might leave soon." Just then, a man sitting alone by the window smiled and said, "You can share my table if you don't mind." He introduced himself as Jonas, a travel photographer who had just returned from a trip to Iceland. Although he was a stranger, he had a kind face and an interesting way of telling stories. Over hot chocolate and cake, Jonas told them about frozen waterfalls, the northern lights, and a beach with black sand. The girls listened with wide eyes, completely forgetting about the rainy day. When they finally left the cafe, the rain had stopped and the sun was peeking through the clouds. "That was unexpected," Layla said. "Though we didn't have our picnic, we had an amazing afternoon," Mia added. "But next time we're checking the weather properly," Layla laughed. "However, sometimes surprises are better than plans," Mia said with a smile. These four words are all used to show contrast, but they are used in slightly different ways. 1. Although, conjunction. Used at the beginning or middle of a sentence. It's followed by a subject plus verb. Example. We can say, "Although it was raining, we went outside," or "We went outside although it was raining." The use of although is formal and common in written English. 2. Though, conjunction or adverb, similar to although but more informal, can also be used at the end of a sentence as an adverb. Example. Though I was tired, I went to the party. Or I went to the party. I was tired though. It's common in spoken English. 3. But, coordinating conjunction. It connects two contrasting ideas in one sentence. Example. I wanted to go for a walk, but it started raining. It's very common in both spoken and written English. 4. However, conjunctive adverb. Used to connect two sentences or independent clauses, often used with a comma or between semicolons. Example. It started to rain, however we stayed at the park. Or she studied hard, however she didn't pass the test. However is more formal, often used in essays and writing,